Hello everyone, my name is Gracian and welcome to what is episode 1 of this Let's Play / tutorial for Against the Storm. If you've never played this game before, you might want to check out episode 0. Episode 0, I talk about everything you need to know to get started in this game, from the theme of the game all the way to picking your first town location. So if you haven't checked that out, you might be a little bit lost. Now in this one, we're going to get started. So what I like to do is the first thing I'm going to do is head on into my basic sort of scavenging places, and I'm going to grab 2 woodcutters. It's important to be chopping down wood very quickly. You probably think that sounds like a lot, but I would build 2 right away. It's like the most important thing to do. So I'm going to build 2 woodcutters, and then I'm also going to check what resources I have available. So I have flax fields for the harvester's camp. Now this is not a food, even though there's a chance we find some. Roots are a food, so I'm going to build the scavenger's camp. So you can either go in here and find it, or you can actually click on it here, which is a great feature. And then we're just going to plop it down wherever. As long as the resources are in the range here, it doesn't matter. So if I put it all the way over here, they have to walk a little further to get to the building. So let's just put it here. So then I'm going to unpause, and people will automatically take resources out of this storage and build these buildings. Now the woodcutter fortunately does not require anything other than parts, so you can never be completely stuck out of wood unless you run out of these somehow, and somehow also lose your buildings. So let's unpause. And they're going to get to work automatically building. I can change the priority of the buildings if I want to, but I don't see a need to do that right now. Okay, now I'm going to pause. I'm going to be pausing a lot during this. You will probably too. Woodcutters have a specialization bonus of wood. So if you look at beavers, it says they are hardworking and honest, but also demanding. They are gifted woodworkers and enjoy engineering. Now, the game doesn't explain this super well in the tutorial. If it says they're good at something, they have a bonus chance to produce double when they make stuff. So if I put this beaver here, boop, this worker has a 10% chance of doubling their yield. So when this person cuts down a tree, it doesn't mean they use 2 charges. It means they use 1 charge and get twice as much, which is fantastic. So if somebody has a bonus in collecting these roots for whatever reason, it wouldn't mean they would collect 2 and it would go down to 17 out of 19. It would mean it would go down to 18 out of 19, but they would get 2 roots. And if they got an herb, they would double that as well. So the specialization is quite important. Now it says that they enjoy engineering. So a building that has a little cog, a little blue cog, they won't get this spinny wheel thing that denotes their double proficiency bonus. What it means is that they'll get like a glowy, shimmery border that means they're happier. So they will actually get a resolve bonus. So he's good at this and he likes engineering. So the harpies are good at alchemy and like working with cloth. Humans are good at farming and like brewing. So just keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is fill up these as fast as possible, these 2 woodcutters, and I'm going to put 2 beavers in each one, just so they work about the same speed, and 1 harpy. So what I want to do now, oh yeah, let me fill this up as well. So let's just get a couple different people in there like that. So now I only have 1 free person to do construction, but that's fine right now. This is more important. So what I want to do is go in here to the Mark Trees tool. You can select a large amount like this by just painting. You can also do the same thing and remove them. But you can also hold shift to make it a single tile. So what I'm going to do here is mark these 2 trees. They can walk behind buildings. And I'm going to mark probably these 4 trees. So they're going to prioritize those because I want to cut into these glades and find what resources are in there. That'll help me decide the future blueprints I'm going to pick up. And in fact, I'm not even going to pick these blueprints up until I see what's in these 4 glades. I'm just going to wait. So over here, we're going to do, usually I like to do the path of least resistance, which looks like maybe here. And then over here is only 3, so we'll do that one. I'll just move this maybe over here. Later on, I will make sure to, basically everything that touches this border will be cut down at some point, but I have to prioritize these resources. I do not want to cut into one of these yet because I have a sense for the pace of the game, and there's a decent chance I won't have the resources to deal with whatever's in here. So I don't want to run that risk. You can get some pretty bad things happening with these, and even permanent bad things if you can't solve the glades in a certain amount of time. So with that, let's go in and set up some pathways. I like to set stone pathways in a circle around the hearth because they'll need to move. They move very fast on the stone paths, and this is the most common place for them to be. We will run out of stone because we don't have access to it on this map, but this is a good place to use it. You can also hit escape. Double check what trees have, double check what natural resources you can find. Again, no stone. It's possible I can find some a different way, but I won't find it just like a node of stone like this. So let's unpause. So everyone's going to get to work. They're going to start collecting roots. The one builder that's left is going to take stone over here, start building these pathways for me. The woodcutters are going to start by chopping down these trees. If they're occupied, they'll just chop a random tree, which is fine for now. They're going to chop down trees, and they will bring it back to this woodcutter's camp where it will be stored in the building, and then at some point one of them will take these resources out of the building to the warehouse. I thought that it would be free workers that would do that, but it's not. It's actually the workers that work in the building that carry the stuff back. Okay, so we're going to pause. We got something here. This is a special perk. So a cornerstone are things that this queen gives us to make us more powerful. So we have grain bags, specialized grain farming techniques. Grain production increased by 1 every 25 times you produce grain. Each newcomer group has 2 additional villagers, or gain 5 pigment for every 10 insects produced. Now, do we get insects on this map? We do. So I would say, not this one, having too many mouths to feed can kill you. So I would probably go with grain bags here. And the reason I want to do that is because we know that all 3 of our people eat biscuits. To make biscuits, you need grain and you need flour from that grain. So making extra grain means that the farms, I don't need as many farms making grain in order to get my biscuit production up. So I'm going to take this perk. It'll just pop up down here, and we'll just have this for the rest of this entire playthrough. So we're just plugging along. We're almost through to a couple glades here. This one and both of these. Okay, so no matter where you are, you'll always get this little symbol. So that's really helpful. You can click on that to take you to the glade. You can see here, I think, now I'm colorblind. I'm pretty sure this is green when it's a regular glade, and then it'll be like a red or orange color when it's a dangerous glade. Please correct me in the comments if you know if that's the case, but I think it's a different color. So you can see it shows that there's a root deposit small and 2 slick shell broodmothers small. So we can zoom in, there's more roots. And then here we have this weird meat deposit. So this is a broodmother. They are crawling, small slick shells are crawling out of the openings in the broodmother's shell. It's easy to collect them. So essentially there's little fatty meaty creatures growing out of this snail mother's shell. It's pretty gross. And this will give meat with a chance for leather. However, we cannot grab this. We do not have a trapper's camp. This is why I like to open up glades before I start selecting buildings, because if we get more of these early, then we know we may want to start focusing on trying to find the trapper's camp for meat production. So let's unpause. We'll let them open up these other glades. Okay. Now it's time for orders. So the queen is like, you went out here and you built this settlement for me. You need to send me back some things. So we actually don't have to do these, but these are how we're going to win the game, is by completing at least half of these, I would say. So we're going to choose an order. Now I have 3 orders instead of 2 because of the special node. So you will only see 2. This is rare to have 3. So you get an objective and rewards, and they're all unique. So you can see the rewards are different. So here is cut through the forest to discover 3 glades, and the reward is some planks, some bricks, and when people are trying to solve glade events, they can carry more stuff, which will make it go faster. Here the queen wants selling goods to traders and having money in my inventory, which I send to her, and I get tools, a special resource, and 2 random villagers. Here is where she wants me to send building materials back, and I will get +1 to plank production, 20 bricks, and 4 tools. I'm probably going to just go with the easy one because I know I can do this very, very quickly and get more blueprints. So I'm just going to select this one. So I have to discover 3 new glades. The nice thing about that one is I'm about to open this one, and this one. So I'll be done with that soon. So we have 2 more orders. So choose an order. Have a scavenger's camp and a stonecutter's camp. Have at least 6 humans for 30 seconds, or sell goods to the trader. In this case, I'm going to want to look... Aha, okay, small farm. So this is the reward for getting the 6 people, is to get the small farm blueprint. It also gives us mushrooms and a +1 to mushroom production every time we get mushrooms. So this is a definite must right here. I do not have to look for this blueprint anymore in my choices, and I get a free blueprint. So anytime you can get extra blueprints, you might want to seriously consider that, because they are limited supply. The number of blueprints you'll get per settlement is very limited, but this is an extra one. Now I do have to get 6 people. That'll be a little bit tough because I have 1 right now. But we do get people every season, and we could possibly find people in some of these glades in camps. And then let's look at our 3rd order. Have a trading post and 10 money. We'll get biscuits, parts, and tools. Complete 2 glade events, or send 5 tools. I don't want to send tools. They're very, very valuable. Very valuable. This is how I win the game pretty much every time, is by amassing tools. I'll show you that by the end of this playthrough. I'm going to go with this one. The trading post and 10 coins is not terrible, and I do want these rewards here. I want the tools, and the parts are not bad to have either. So let's pick that one. So we don't have any spare people to work extra buildings right now. Aha! Aha! Okay, 2 glades open. So here we have fertile soil. Aha! So it's time to start setting up our farming area, although we don't have the farm building yet. And over here we have, again, more farming area. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect. So we're going to let this one finish that. Now what we could do with the woodcutter is we could just pick it up. We can just pick this building up and move it wherever we want for free. Some buildings you can't do that. A lot of the early ones, like all of these, are free. These ones are sometimes movable. Sometimes they move only if you pay a cost. And there are some buildings you really can't move at all, like hearths. So you have to watch out for that. But you get kind of used to it. Basically anything in the basic buildings where you have to move around to find more nodes to harvest, you can move those around. So we're going to move this guy over to here. And now what I want to do is I want to sort of... You can see how this here, this is fertile soil. So I can go in here and I can tell them to build a farm plot over that. Some of these have trees on them, so I want to go in here and clear out any forest that might be on top of the farming tiles so that I can access them for later. And then this is not a terrible spot right here to have a farm, but I do want to make roads in the future that kind of go every direction. So here's an intersection, so I'm going to clear this out as well, and have the farm have a road to the farm here. So we're gonna hit move, and we're gonna hit R to rotate that. I want it facing that way. So that's sort of my thinking for my plan here. So I'll just let those woodcutters get back to work getting this all cleared out. The one builder is working her way across here. It's gonna take her a while because there's only one of her and there's a lot of roads to build. You can also just build paths. They're free, but they only give you a 5% speed increase. That's why I like to build the paved roads as much as I can. Aha. Okay, 3rd glade is open. So we have nests in here filled with eggs, which we can get with the scavenger's camp. And then we also have completed our exploration. So you can click it here. It'll also show your rewards, or you can go back in here and deliver it this way. So again, we're going to have +5 to our glade carrying events. We haven't had one of those yet, and we'll get bricks and planks, which is great because getting some of the early buildings that take these, this will be faster. So we accept that. And then what we did is, because we got you see we get a reputation point when we do these, that's 1 notch down here. So every time we get here, we get closer to winning, and every time we reach one of these, we get a blueprint. So I'm back up to 3 blueprints. So now that we've unlocked a little bit of space, let's hold B. Take a look. We've got clay to pick up. We've got eggs. We've got meat. Okay. So what we're going to want eventually is a harvester's camp. I'm going to go ahead and queue it up, even though she's pretty busy building right now. And then same thing over here. I'm going to go ahead and queue this up, even though I've got kind of a lot going on. Eventually, I'll probably just put a single person in the stonecutters camp because I don't need clay very quickly. Same here. I'll probably only put one person in here. Okay, so now what do we want to do? We've got... I'll probably take this woodcutter into here and get another small glade opened up. I want to avoid these big ones for now, probably until the next season when I get more people, sorry, because I don't have a lot of workers right now. So if there is something weird going on, I won't really have the manpower to produce whatever I need to solve the event. This will make a lot more sense when we actually get an event going. So they're doing a great job here of clearing out these fertile plots here. Looks like we got a tree here we got to clear out. Nope. We're good. We clear out this tree as well, so they have space to move around in here. Really want to get that farm, so we want to pick up humans, and I'll show you how we do that. Right now we're getting extra resin when we cut down trees, which is great because this is actually a pretty valuable resource. See, our fuel supply is going up, which is great because we have to burn it pretty much constantly. If we're burning lumber, it's one every 15 seconds. So every 15 seconds we lose a tree. It's kind of why it's important to have 2 woodcutters going. Sometimes my games will get big enough that I need 3 woodcutters, each with 3 people in them. See how we're doing over here, getting this little farming area set up. All right, we got another glade. So we've got dewberry bushes and sea marrow. So this is a fuel source. I don't know why. I think it's like almost like oil or something. Efficient fuel. Yeah, it burns pretty well. Yeah, a minute. I've got a little bit of a bonus to that from meta progression. That's why it's not a minute, it's a minute 3, which helps out. And then, so this can produce a little bit of stone. That's fantastic. So I may actually have the stonecutters camp. I can put it like here, and then they can reach all of this. So then what I'll probably do is have the woodcutters camp cut down this line of trees here so that the stonecutters can get to this. Otherwise they'd have to walk all the way around like this, which is really stupid. We also have some berries, and we need the herbalist camp to get these. So we can't grab these yet at all. Same with the meat. We want the trappers camp because we're going to have, again, hit escape, we can see we're going to have meat and berries. So it's quite possible that we want an herbalist camp and or a trappers camp produced unlocked by a blueprint. So let's take a look at our blueprints now that we have gotten a better feel of what resources are around us. So let's go back in here. We do have an herb garden. This is a type of farm, but there are 2 types of farms. There's 3 types of farms, and this is the one that I like the least, I think. Foragers camp would let us get vegetable, grain, and insects. I don't like these for this build, to be honest. Vegetables are around. What was the other 2 things? Grain and insects. No grain. Insects can be picked up by a different type of camp, the trappers camp, which we also want for this one. So I'm going to aim for the trappers camp and not bother with this foragers camp, to be honest. Maybe another time, but I want to pick up the artisan. This person can produce coats, which are pretty useful for 2 of the people, 2 of the races like the coats. And pigment and barrels are good. Barrels, you can put beer in that, and pigment can be used for cosmetics for the harpies. I usually ignore the harpies because I don't like them. So let's pick the artisan. Okay, so let's see here. So we picked up a way to get biscuits, which is a good food source for us. So we may not need to worry about the brick oven. Here's a decent way to make a fabric, which we need for coats. And here's ale, which we can make out of grain and then send it to the tavern. So this is a tough one. It's between the brewery and the leather worker for me. At this point, I'm thinking the leather worker for an efficient way to make fabric, and then we can turn those into coats to make people happy. And then now we've got, so here's the weaver. Now let me explain this. So this here let's take a look at this. Let's go into, where is that? Recipes. If we go to show all, and then we click on something like fabric, you can see here the crude workstation takes 38 seconds using 6 plant fiber to make 2 fabric, okay? They all make 2, but you can see the efficiency of the building. Here's a 2-star. It takes 3 plant fiber instead of 6. And here, the weaver, the most efficient, takes 2 plant fiber instead of 3. So it's more efficient to have these high star things. So that's what we're looking at when we see the stars. The crude workstation can make any of the, like the fabric, planks, and bricks, but it's very inefficient, and you don't want to have to use this for very long because you're just wasting resources. So what we want to do is, we just picked up the leather worker, so I don't see any reason to switch to the weaver, to also purchase the weaver, when I already have fabric production covered by a pretty decent version. 2 stars is perfectly fine. So I am not going to pick up the weaver. If this had been my first option, I would have picked that up. The brickyard can make pottery, crystallized dew, and bricks. We've also got a carpenter. Ooh, carpenter is very good. The tools and the planks are very important. We're going to take the carpenter. And now we are actually out of blueprints for now, so we can't pick any more, unfortunately. So what we want to do is work on our quests. We don't have any amber to trade, so we do want to build a trader soon. So we're in clearance now. Clearance is when you harvest. But of course right now we don't have any crops because we don't have enough people working. So we are going to slowly kind of run out of food. Very slowly. Although these guys are doing a great job of producing here. You can see this shows how much they're picking up. You can see the quantity of stuff in the encampment here. There's our one builder building my sample farm plots that I showed you. Now she's going to head off and probably work on the harvester's camp and the stonecutter's camp. I'm not going to queue up any of these better buildings yet because I just don't even have the bandwidth for people to be working on it right now until I get more people. So let's go ahead and turn this to ×3. Not going to waste any people on this because I don't need this plant fiber right now more than I need food. Rather always be working on food so I never run out. Although we are doing pretty well. Yeah, maybe I'll take one person out of here and stick them in the plant fiber so we can make the coats and stuff out of them. Make cloth. So now this guy doesn't have anything to do, so he's just sort of chopping down trees, and that's fine because I really do want most of this area cleared out. They'll automatically chop down anything in their radius as long as you don't tell them what to do. This guy here we probably want to move because I don't want him ending up cutting into this camp here. So let's move you up to here and tell you to cut these 2 trees out into that one. Move you to back here, and then we're going to start cutting all the way over to here. Now they can't reach here, so what I'll do is I'll cut like these 2 trees out so it's a little 2x2, and I'll move the building into that spot so they can reach further. So you can see there's some people taking a break. There's lightning flashing because we're about to hit the storm. We're heading on off to that glade. Heading off to that glade. Picking up plant fiber, clay, and insects. All right, we're about to go into the storm. This is where things get a little dicier. So then you can see the negative buffs or debuffs are starting to activate. So now everyone's losing morale of 4. So they're headed downward to 1. These guys are headed downward to 6. These guys are headed downward to 11. So if this ever hits 0 or less, there will be a little red bar that will go all the way around like this, counterclockwise. And if it gets to the top again, one of those people will abandon the city. And losing people is generally bad. If you're having a food problem, you could try to upset people until they leave so that you have less people to feed. But usually, especially as you get better at the game, like right now I'm desperate for more people. If I had 3 times as many people, I'd probably be good. But I really want more people, so you just got to watch out for that. A lot of times, if the bar doesn't start going until about halfway through the storm, you can make it to the end before it reaches the top. But things that help with their resolve would be any of the stuff in here, and we're doing none of these things right now. So this is probably the last storm that we won't have anybody trying to leave unless we fix some of these things. We're heading off up into that glade. Chopping down these 2 trees so we can move this in there. I'm going to queue this up. It doesn't actually not exist right now, which is nice. You can kind of like get ready to plop it down. There we go. So now there's a woodcutter sort of lodged in the middle of the forest over there. So now they're going to cut all the way over to here. And then we're going to move this again because we don't want them randomly chopping down into either of these glades yet until I'm ready. We'll probably move that woodcutter, probably move them both back to the center and start clearing out some of this main space here. Okay, so we've made it to the next year. So our bonuses are active again for the rest of Drizzle. We can go up here and we can get some new people. Now, unfortunately, I've not been offered more than 1 human, so I can either take this pack of people with these resources or this pack of people with these resources. Now, I want more beavers and humans. I don't want more harpies, so I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to accept that. We also get a new perk every year. Over Diligent Worker, gain 3 barrels every time 10 planks are produced. +1 to wood production, but you lose all fuel stored upon picking up this cornerstone. Global production is faster, but trading is unavailable. We don't want that one. So let me look at my fuel stores. Oof, I have a lot of fuel in storage right now. If I took this perk, I would lose all of the wood I have and all the coal, but then I would get +1 to wood. So when workers cut down the forest trees, they would get 3 wood instead of 2, which is absurd. I don't think I need that. I think I've got plenty of... This cornerstone option will disappear if you decide to unpause the game before choosing it. Oh, so they don't want me to unpause, spend all my coal on sacrificing or something, and then choose it. Interesting. I'll take this one. Gain 3 barrels every time 10 planks have been produced. Let's take that one, because we'll be able to use that with our grain to make alcohol once we get the farm situation under control. So you can see you've got to kind of plan kind of far ahead in this game. So I think with that, we're going to have to call this episode here. We're out of time. I know it's taken a long time to get a lot of gameplay done, but the first year, there's a lot of planning to do. There's a lot of basic stuff we got to get set up, but eventually I will be producing like an industry area. I'll probably chop down into this glade on the next episode, and then I'll have some free space to start building up an industry area and then put a new like warehouse with it. That's what I like to do to make it faster. And then we'll start seeing what these events are going to be like. Start getting some more complicated things up and running. So thank you everybody so much for watching. This is again episode 1, and again you might want to check out episode 0 if you haven't yet, because a lot of this will make more sense. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope this tutorial series will be very helpful for people who want to get into this game but maybe found it a bit overwhelming, or that the tutorial didn't quite do it for them. So please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Share it with other people if you think that they're going to like learning how to play this fantastic game, and I will see you in the next episode.